Many grandparents in Florida find themselves raising children. As these family situations develop over time, grandparents may encounter legal obstacles. For example, without formal documentation, grandparents may face difficulties enrolling the children in school and arranging medical care for the children. Grandparents may also encounter issues with their landlord or with public housing when children live with the grandparents. This video briefly discusses some of the options under Florida law for grandparents to secure the type of custody that is a good fit for each family. Grandparents need more than just legal support. It is important to plug into a network of support services. After viewing this video, please check out the Kinship Services Network. Also, grandparents raising children may be eligible to receive public assistance, such as temporary assistance for needy families, child-only grants, food stamps, Medicaid, WIC, and child support payments. These are available according to certain eligibility criteria. Reach out to the Kinship Services Network at www.childrenshome.org for more information on getting access to these and other benefits throughout the state of Florida. Physical custody refers to where the child lives. Legal custody refers to the right to make decisions about the child. Parents have legal custody of their children unless they voluntarily give custody to someone else, or a court takes legal custody away and gives it to someone else, such as a grandparent. Formal custody means that a court has produced a document granting custody of the child to a grandparent. Informal custody occurs when a grandparent simply takes over caring for a child without involvement of a court or state agency. Informal or physical custody is probably the most common form of grandparent custody. Though grandparents can go months or even years raising their grandchildren informally, there are significant risks and the grandparent has very limited rights under this arrangement. In particular, with informal physical custody, either one of the child's parents may remove the child from the grandparent's care at any time. Therefore, informal physical custody works best when both parents agree to the grandparents acting as caretaker for the child. If a grandparent is raising a child under informal custody, there are two fundamental legal documents which may be extremely useful. Those two documents are a durable power of attorney and a designation of healthcare surrogate. These documents can be obtained from a parent and may prove very helpful for dealing with schools, medical providers, and other institutions. A power of attorney is a formal document that gives the grandparent the right to act on behalf of the parent. This document, which requires the signature of the parent, is often very helpful when the grandparent is dealing with schools or medical providers. A designation of healthcare surrogate is a formal document that gives the grandparent the authority to make medical decisions on behalf of the child. A power of attorney or designation of healthcare surrogate may be canceled by the parent at any time. Therefore, these documents will only work if a parent agrees with the child being in the custody of the grandparent. Before we explore other custody options for grandparents, it is important to emphasize that under Florida law, grandparents have very few rights. In particular, if the child's parents do not want the grandparents involved. Therefore, if the parents and grandparents are working together, they may be able to establish a good custody solution on their own. If the parents and grandparents are having substantial disagreements over the care and custody of the child, however, the grandparent may need resources and support from professionals in order to navigate the obstacles towards a solution. A good place to start for free resources and support for grandparents in the state of Florida is the Kinship Services Network at www.childrenshome.org. Many times, a grandparent may require formal legal custody of a child. These forms of custody require a court order. Formal options. These options involve removing some or all of the parental rights from the parent, either temporarily or permanently. Formal custody options include temporary custody, concurrent custody, guardianship, dependency proceedings, and adoption. Even though the title sounds short-term, temporary legal custody may last for many years, even until the child reaches the age of 18. There are two situations where you may pursue temporary legal custody in the court. First, if the parent agrees to temporary legal custody. Second, if the grandparent is already caring full-time for the child, and the grandparent can show that the parents have abused, neglected, or abandoned the child under the definitions provided in Florida law. Concurrent custody is only for situations where the parent agrees to the custody. Concurrent custody allows for both the parent and the grandparent to make major decisions affecting the child and to access official documents. Next to adoption, guardianship is one of the most secure and permanent legal relationships that can be established. When a relative is appointed guardian of a child, he or she assumes all the authority that would normally be available to a parent. The appointment as guardian of a minor is permanent until the minor becomes an adult or the guardian is removed for cause by the court. Guardianship requires ongoing supervision by the court, including annual reporting by the guardian grandparent. When a court finds that a child has been abused, abandoned, or neglected by the parent, the court may order placement or legal custody to a relative such as a grandparent. Dependency proceedings require ongoing supervision by the court and by the Department of Children and Families, DCF. DCF is very much involved in all steps and stages of the dependency court process. Adoption is the most permanent legal custody that can be established. Adoption can happen when the parent consents or the court has terminated parental rights. Adoption creates a parent-child relationship between the caregiver and the child. A grandparent raising a child has many options to provide long-term stability for the child. One of the most important factors is whether or not the parent agrees with the custody arrangement. Family situations may be incredibly complicated, and each family needs to make the decision that is best for them. Remember that the best interest of the child is the most important factor to consider when confronting these challenges. For more information and support, contact the Kinship Services Network.